Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about something a little deep, I guess. So, I'm just going to be a little vague about like the time, the place, and when this exactly happened because I don't know who is watching this. But anyway, recently I literally walked right past my perpetrator and he did not even realize that I was there. And let me tell you, I was not scared because I'm honestly past that point of like, oh my god, I'm scared of you. But like, I just felt so enraged because one, you're too close to my area, you're too close in proximity to me. Two, it's like it enrages me that you were just out here living life, doing you. Like, it just enraged me. And let me tell you how I realized that it was my perpetrator. The point is, I'm walking, and I'm gonna just be honest with you. I am the kind of person that I never forget a fucking face. I don't care. I don't care if I knew you since I was a little kid. Like, I'm gonna put that face in my head and lock it in my brain. I never forget a face. Never. I've always been like that. I may not be able to put it to where I know you, but I just never forget a face. So anyway, I was like, I looked, and I was like, is that? And I was like, no, it's just my brain. It's just my thoughts, like, eating at me. And then I was like, no, I'm not going crazy. Like, I'm not going crazy. I kept walking. And then something told me to look again. I was like, no, I'm not crazy. And what confirmed it was two things. I saw his hands, and I don't mean to be, like, vulgar, but, like, as a person that survived child sexual abuse, you're not going to forget what a person's hands look like that used to be inside you, make you do things, and you're just not going to forget those hands that used to choke you, beat your ass. Like, you're not going to forget those hands. Do you get what I mean? So, like, anyways, I guess the perpetrator was, like, holding something in his hand, and the second time I looked, like, he adjusted his hand, and, like, I saw the nail beds, and I was like, nope, that's him. And I was like, no, I was being in denial. I was like, no, it's just my head, it's just my brain. I kept walking, and then I looked again, and again, he did not see me because, I don't know, he was doing something on his phone, so he did not see me. So I was just like, nah, I'm tripping. But what confirmed it for me, again, was, I guess he was getting a phone call, and, like, as soon as he said hello, I knew that was him. So I was like, okay, let me get the fuck out of here. And it wasn't so much that I was scared because I'm not at that point in my life anymore where, like, I'm scared of him or anything like that. And I was actually proud of myself that I didn't freeze because in the past I've been known to, like, freeze in situations like this. But I'm actually glad that I didn't do that. It was just more so like, why are you in my space? Like, why are you in proximity of my area? Like, what are you doing here? Like, that's how I felt. And it was just more like, because after what I was doing, I had to go to work. So on the drive to work, I was just, like, thinking of so many things. And I was just thinking, like, he could be in jail, but he's not. He's living life, doing I don't know what, on his phone, doing something, taking phone calls. And it just really enraged me that, like, I had to experience that. And I literally had to, like, walk right past him. When I tell you I literally walked right past him, I fucking walked right past him. And on all honesty, if he would have recognized me, I guarantee you he would have said my name and tried to get my attention because this isn't the first time this happened. This happened probably about 4 years ago. I was at the DMV and he literally called my name and started following me to my car. So at that point, yes, I still was scared of him and I still feared him in a way. But this time I didn't feel like that. I low-key wanted to, like, say something, but I was just like, what is that going to do for me? He will not admit the fact that he is a pedo. He will not admit the fact that he sexually assaulted me, that he raped me, that he molested me, that he did horrible things to me. So what am I going to gain from that? So it was very hard for me to just, like, process all that because it really was just like a lunge in my fucking face. But so that was one thing that happened. Another thing that happened was, you know, my counselor told me recently that I do not acknowledge my trauma enough. And, you know, I always kind of put it on the back burner, like, it wasn't that bad. People have been through worse. And I tend to do that because, yes, my story is bad. My story is something that that should have been on the news. My story is something that it's really bad. And it's just terrible that that person that caused these things to happen to me is not in jail. They're just free. And it hurts because I'm not the only person that their perpetrator didn't go to jail, because evidence, inconsistencies, whatever the hell you want to call it, the system is just so fucked. So when I hear stories, for example, I recently read the book by J.C. Dugard. When I read that book, it made me really want to finish the book that I'm reading. The book I'm writing. But it's really hard for me to do that because every time I write my book and try to work on it, I have to relive those moments, and that's why it's not done yet, because it's like, fuck, okay. And I also think about, well, okay, I have to write this book. There's always going to be those people, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Blah, 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 blah. And after so many years of dealing and hearing with that, I don't want to hear that. Either you read the damn book or you fucking don't. And people don't understand is when you are a child and you are taught certain things by your peers that are supposed to be your parents, your parent figures, whatever you want to call it, you're not going to question what they're telling you because that is someone that you as a child trust. And these are things that are being put into your head. So if they tell you, like, suck my dick and lick it like a lollipop, this is a game that daddies play with each other with their daughters, that's what you're fucking going to believe until you find out the truth. So, lots to process here. But anyway, it's just like, it's so enraging for me to know that, like, you just are a walking fucking man. I just fucking hate that. But anyway, there's nothing I can do about that. And it enrages me for other women and men as well, because I know I'm not the only one that has a walking perpetrator, you know? So I think about that often, and it hurts because the situation where I walked right past him, it could have been way worse. And sometimes I think about, okay, yes, I started getting, from what I can recall, I started getting sexually molested when I was 4 years old, and it didn't stop until I was 14. So I was a teenager. So I think about, like, okay, you know, I'm an adult now. Like, I think about, okay, I don't know how these pedophiles' minds work, but, like, would they still find their child victim attractive as an adult? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? So, like, I think about these things, and my thing is, like, okay, yes, I didn't see him see me, but I don't know if he was playing stupid. Do you get what I mean? And it was too close to the proximity of my area. So I'm just like, I just overthink things too much, and I just gotta play it safe, like very, very safe, because that just did not sit well with me at all. And I've been on edge ever since that happened, because it's just a reminder of what happened to me. It just reminds me that, you know, ding dong, bitch, he's free. Like, I already know that, but, like, literally walking right past him was very hard. And I was getting so many intrusive thoughts, like, oh, I should walk back and slap the shit out of him. But what is that going to get me? In jail? Because why? We already know why. It was just causing, like, a lot of disgustingness. And it just hurts to know that there's so many women and men that go through this exact fucking feeling, and it's a shit feeling. It just really is a shit feeling. But I just pray that in time the system gets better, because there's no person on this earth that should have to walk past their perpetrator. And I was at a point one time where I lived in fear. So I can just imagine other people having to do that and they freeze up and they're caught in a fucked up situation. Like, I just really like want to make a change in the system because it's really fucked. But that's what happened to me recently, and I'm really gonna try to work on expressing more of my story. I don't know if I'm gonna do that on YouTube or on TikTok, to be honest, or just personally, because there's a lot of things that I need to talk about that I've never discussed before, like ever, that is still locked up deep inside the beings of my brain. And more so, it's just because I don't want to talk about it. It's very shameful. And I was recently talking to my counselor, and she told me, I need to open up that box and decompress a lot of those thoughts, because it's good to do that, and that's part of the healing process. But the hardest part for me is reliving those moments. Like, obviously it's not happening at that moment, but talking about it like in detail, it brings back those moments. And I actually went to therapy today. Like, I'm in a little support group for women who have experienced assault, sexual assault, whatever. And yeah, it's very hard to just talk about those things. We did an exercise today, and it was very triggering for me, because it was like, one of the exercises that we did was, close your eyes and think about the time when you were young, and what were you wearing? What do you wish you could have been wearing? Where were you living? What did it look like? What did it sound like? Yeah, so that was very hard, because when I thought about that, I literally thought about this specific moment in my time, in my childhood, where I think I shared this before, probably on TikTok, but not so in detail. I thought about this time period in my childhood where I literally only wore nothing but robes around my house, because that helped the perpetrator be more accessible to me. And yeah, like that, I literally have pictures of me just in a robe, and it's just like, it makes me so sick to my stomach, because that was more accessible for him. You know what I mean? And it's disgusting. And it wasn't just that, I also shared with my group too, like, it took me a while to break this little thing, but for a long time I used to have a really bad problem with the color red. Like, I didn't want to wear red lipstick, didn't want to wear red nail polish, paint, nothing about me I didn't want to red, because my perpetrator had like some kind of fixation with me painting my toes red. So that was something that was really hard for me to like break away from. It took me a lot of years to be comfortable with wearing red colors, because the way that I grew up was like, okay, when you wear red, you're trying to attract a man, because that's, why he would want me to paint my toes red, because it was like a fixation for him, if that makes sense. So that was really hard to think about today, and that wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. And it was really hard to like, okay, yeah, this is what happened, that's what happened, blah 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 blah. And sometimes saying that stuff out loud, it doesn't feel good at all. It's very shameful to say out loud. It doesn't feel good, but unfortunately that's my truth. Whether nobody believes it, unfortunately I know what happened, and that's what fucking happened. So that's what I'm really gonna try to work on this year, is digging out more memories from the Pandora box, even though I really don't want to. But I know it will be more helpful for me as far as the healing journey, because I've been in counseling for years now, on and off. And one thing is, I never want to let what happened to me be like, I never wanted to let it define me. I never wanted to own me. Like, unfortunately, I just don't want that. And I know sometimes that does happen to a lot of survivors, but I don't want that for myself. And I just want to make these videos and share my experiences so that it can help other survivors of sexual abuse or sexual assault. Like, because it's sad to say, it's a very common thing now. It's very common, and it's very sad, and it's not talked about enough. And it makes me sad because it's very pushed under the rug. It's very just like taboo. You hear about it on the news, on TikTok, on Instagram, but it's not addressed to the point. It's always like, okay, yeah, that happened. There's way too many pedophiles in the world, and I just feel like they don't need to be free. But I recently found out that in Madagascar, was it Madagascar? Madagascar, I believe, some country, they passed a bill to chemically castrate pedophiles. That gave me jumps of joy. But as for America, we need to do better over here. Okay? Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I know that was a lot of information, so sorry about that. But if you stayed to the end, thank you for listening. And I'm going to really try to be as blunt and as honest as I can be with you guys, because at the end of the day, I just really want to help other people who are struggling with this or have experienced this, because it's really fucked up. And I understand that it gets hard, and sometimes you don't want to talk about this, and sometimes you don't want to go to counseling because you're not ready. So I hope that these videos, I guess, kind of help. And some of the coping mechanisms that I do, like this week I've been really on edge because of what happened, what I talked about earlier. So like some coping skills that I've done recently is just like self-care. The day that it happened, that I saw my perpetrator, I went to get my nails done. You see the little ghost face? I don't know if you could see it. Is it upside down? Yeah, it's upside down. But I went to get my nails done because my mind was like all over the place. Once we get my nails done, the next day I hung out with my best friend. We got our toes done, and it was very hard for me to just tell, like, hey, guess what I saw today? I perp, because it's not something that I'm happy to say out loud. It's very like, ugh. But I am grateful and blessed that I have the support system that I do have, and I know a lot of people unfortunately don't have that. So that's why I make these videos. But thank you for watching and listening, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and all that good stuff. And I don't know if they're really gonna ban TikTok. I don't know if that's like a lie, but if it is, just come over here or follow me on Instagram. Bye.